and welcome back to the second episode of the Solopreneur Insights series, where I take you along for building my business or businesses, because there's two of them. This is a series where I take you along for all of the wins and all of the failures along my journey of growing both of my businesses, both my app startup Spotlight and my online coaching business as well. In this series, you get to watch me in real time grow my businesses. You get to see exactly what I'm doing, exactly how everything is turning out as well, and what I'm learning along the way, and what you can implement in your own business as well. So let's jump into the second episode today. So to start us off, let's talk FBYS. So this is my sales course, which I mentioned last time. I had relaunched for the first time ever with the live component to it. So we've wrapped up the sale of that, and one thing which I'm really noticing, which is very interesting to me, is how much interest there still is in this program even after this launch has ended. As I'm talking about just the wins of the students, talking about me restructuring some of the modules, I'm still seeing a lot of interest, and actually a lot of people are reaching out, and I'm pretty much getting at least one person a week who is reaching out interested in the program, asking for more details on it. So that has been really interesting for me actually, and I have been thinking a lot over the last week about actually making this more of an evergreen offer, because I've only ever actually treated this as something which is, I'll launch it a few times a year, I will not mention it for months in between, and I'll almost ghost this program, and then I'll suddenly mention it or put it on sale for Black Friday or something like that, and that's really the first time people will hear about it then, after months of not even knowing it exists. So that was very interesting for me, and I think it just really helped to show me as well what people are actually looking for right now, which really makes sense. It's a really foundational program helping you to make sales in your business. So it makes sense that there's a lot of interest in this at the moment. And I think it's always so powerful to look at, what are people actually asking for, and creating based around that versus trying to guess what people want, when people are literally giving you signs anyway, whether that's the content they tend to be liking, or the polls they tend to vote for, or the links they tend to click on. You can see what people are interested in. So I think it's really logical and just strategic to follow that. So I'm really considering making this more of an evergreen program, where I will just talk about it on the regular instead of just doing small launches of this. So on that note, I've been restructuring this program over the last week. I've officially released all the new modules, and they are so good. I'm so happy with this. I've really made it more of a strategic process. It's got a signature process to it now. It's got a 3-step framework from audience, leads, and sales, actually walking you through literally everything you need, from cold audience, actually getting eyes on your business in the first place, to getting leads, to actually converting those into sales. It literally covers everything. And I've also introduced something which I'm so excited by this concept. I'm doing a Q&A bank inside this program, which is essentially 5-minute videos for when you have a really specific question, but obviously it's not covered in a module because it's quite specific, it's quite niche of a question. So I'm doing 5-minute videos really just answering all of these questions. So essentially this Q&A bank is acting as a, if I ever have a question, if I ever have any specific question after watching the modules, as I'm going through a sales conversation, whatever that is, I can just go into this Q&A bank and I literally have the answer in 5 minutes from that. So this has been a super interesting launch from the perspective of, obviously we got 10 people inside it in the end, I think, which was really amazing. The group is going amazing so far. The live round is working really well as well, and is a really good balance in terms of my time as well. And also I'm really seeing that interest after, so I'm very much considering making it an evergreen thing, so stay tuned for what happens with that. But I think it's going to work really well, just keeping it as a more consistent part of my office week. Now the second area I was sharing about last week was really around figuring out my messaging and nailing that down, after feeling like for so long I'd been speaking to everyone and everything and helping with everything under the sun online business. So firstly, I think the FBYS restructure has really helped in terms of just nailing down what I do essentially, and making more of a specific niche and a specific thing that I'm known for. But secondly, one thing which I've really noticed is, as I have been, figuring out this messaging, really redefining that, looking at how I'm putting out content, what I'm talking about, I am really wanting to show up more and just really put more words out, because I think the best way to really redefine your niche almost, and really figure out what your message is, what are the things which I'm known for, is actually just being messy essentially with it, and just creating, and then seeing from there what's resonating, what sticks. So In the same way that with the FBYS launch, it was through that I was able to realize, and through the redesigning the program and redesigning the visuals as well, it was through that I was able to realize that actually this is probably something which I should pursue more. This is something which I should create as part of my evergreen content offer suite. And actually, by me just putting out more content, by me actually just sharing more words, writing more words, and just speaking more to my audience, that is the only way I'm going to see what is actually sticking, what is actually working, what I should do more of, versus me sitting behind a screen and trying to guess what's going to resonate, trying to guess what's going to work, essentially. I think it's so powerful to actually realize that sometimes we can sit behind the screens and think about it all we want, we can brainstorm all we want, but actually a lot of the times we just need to get out there and either have conversations with those people, speak to our ideal clients, have those DM conversations, ask people, do market research, or actually just put out content and just see what sticks. Throw the spaghetti at the wall and just see what sticks sometimes is actually really good advice and can be really helpful. So I'm taking that advice and I'm really upping how much content I'm putting out for the purpose of really seeing what is resonating, seeing what I should be doing more of, and seeing what is really speaking to my ideal client and is really connecting there. And then secondly to that, also creating more time for conversations throughout the week as well. So I am naturally an introverted person, and I'm naturally someone who it's very easy for me to just sit behind the screen, do all the work on the projects, and not have any interactions with actual humans, not actually go and, respond to comments, not actually go and engage in my DMs, not actually go and just connect with my ideal client, essentially. It's really natural for me to just slip into that role where I'm not doing those things. So for me, I really intentionally have to actually carve out time for that each day. So I'm really making it a habit to spend 30 minutes a day just having essentially conversations with humans, actually just going into the DMs, speaking with my ideal client, getting to really understand them even more and getting to see what is resonating, where they're at right now, how I can actually best serve them. And I think this is an amazing strategy which everyone should adopt, to be honest, is just spending more time on the front end of your business and actually committing to a certain amount of time each day of just getting to know your ideal client on a really one-to-one level, not only from the perspective of this will help you with sales, because yes, it will, spoiler, but secondly, it will also really help you just refining your messaging, refining how you're doing things, and it's just a really great strategy overall. So this series is amazing for the accountability because you can hold me accountable and see how I do in next week's episode with this, but I'm committing to spending half an hour a day really just conversing with my ideal client, just having conversations with them, connecting with people who are already in my audience and new people as well, and just really focused on connections and just relationship building and just getting to know my ideal client essentially, so I can see what works, mainly from the perspective of my one-to-one program. I'm really wanting to refine the messaging of that. So I know my overall brand and business messaging, FBYS, feel super confident with that now. Now we're really looking at the one-to-one messaging. Okay, who am I speaking to? What is this program really focused on? And what direction am I really wanting to lean in this? And that is the information which I'm hoping to get from all of this research essentially, which I'm going to be doing during these 30 minutes. So you will see over the next episodes what I do with that, how that program is really developing, how that messaging is developing. So that's the super fun part of this series, is you literally get to tune into the next episode and see exactly, the results from this essentially. And then the third and final part to today's episode is Spotlight. So Spotlight is my software app business. It is an app for coaches and online service providers, helping them with their client communications. It's essentially allowing you to have your day-to-day client communication in one place. We're aiming to automate messages, emails, and notifications as well, and make it just easy for you to give an exceptional client experience essentially. So the intros aside, with Spotlight, we are in the stage at the moment where we have finished building the core product, which is super exciting. We have our early users who have bought lifetime passes, and we're getting ready to release this app to those early users so they can get early access before we're officially launching to the public. There is so much to go through in this process though. So not only have we been testing the app on iOS and Android, because we need to make sure there's no bugs, we need to try every single different use case, try, random things that you would only come across once in every 1,000 different uses, but we want to fix all of those bugs. So we've been really just chaos monkeying essentially is the title of the task. Chaos monkeying around inside the app, just trying to break things and just fixing every bug which we find. So That process has come to an end for iOS now, so it's all ready to go. We have applied for the App Store, and that is a long process if you've never done that. Oh my gosh, I did not quite realize how long this process was. So we applied for the App Store, we submitted all of our app previews, submitted all of the information they need, and we got rejected. We got rejected the first time because they are very, very strict about needing to have in-app purchases inside the app from day one, which obviously for us is not something we really need because the app isn't even launching for the public for months. All we're needing right now is it to be accessible to our early users so they can just log into the app and use the account essentially. But we're not able to do this until we've set up the in-app purchases. So technically anyone would be able to buy it before we're actually even able to get it out to our early users. So we got rejected. Had to answer a lot of questions from them in terms of how our app's being used to really assess whether we do need in-app purchases. And we had to spend 2 whole days out of the schedule, pushing the schedule back just slightly, but hopefully we should only be a week behind schedule at the moment. We had to push the schedule back slightly to really design all the screens for the in-app purchases. So just designing those alone took about a day. Then actually producing those in terms of the code and development side, and actually bringing those to life, creating the plans, creating all the backend system for that. So we've been hard at work creating all of those different things, but they are ready now. So then we just need to submit that version, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll know next week, it should get approved for that. And then we should be good to go in terms of preparing to onboard our early users so people can actually start using the app and we can get this into their hands. So it's a super exciting time over at Spotlight at the moment. Lots of things happening, and in just a few weeks we should be people should be using the app with their clients, which is just a really cool concept considering like 9 months ago this was just an idea in our heads. So that's very exciting. Fun little semi-personal update as well. We've officially booked tickets for our next trip away. If you do not know, I love to travel. I travel a lot with my business. I'm very focused on freedom-filled businesses, and travel is part of that for me. So we booked our next trip. We are going to Mallorca in July. So I'm so excited for that. So you will be coming along for that for all the weekly updates. So stay tuned for that. But on that note, we will wrap up this episode here. So those are the updates this week. I will keep you updated next week with all the developments with all of those different pieces, how they are going along, and again, what you can really take away from this, watching my progress, watching all of the failures and everything. So I'm super excited for this series to continue, and I will see you next week. Make sure to like this video and give me a comment as well, letting me know what you're most interested in seeing in this series. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.